Paul prophesied. Ignatius fulfilled. In Acts 20, Paul warned the Gentile leaders at Ephesus about what would happen after his departure. Wolves would enter the flock, while men from among themselves would invent teachings and draw disciples after themselves. Paul was describing an internal takeover arising within his Gentile congregations. The original church began in Jerusalem under the Jewish apostles Jesus appointed. During Paul's lifetime, Gentile believers didn't form a separate organization. They were grafted into Israel's body and remained connected to Jerusalem's Jewish leadership. Doctrinal controversies were brought there, material assistance was delivered there, and Paul reported his missionary work to its leaders. But Paul warned that after his departure, men from within those congregations would gather disciples around themselves, replace Jerusalem's supervision with local control, and operate independently. Then came Ignatius. By the early 2nd century, his letters provided the clearest surviving manifestation of Paul's warning. Ignatius placed the local bishop at the center of congregational life. Believers were told to follow the bishop, do nothing without him, and regard unity with him as essential. This redirected allegiance. Paul's Gentile believers had been directed toward the Jewish administration established by Jesus. Ignatius directed later believers toward Gentile bishops. He opposed Judaizing and gave this emerging independent identity a name, the Catholic Church. Surviving documents confirm the change. Rome, Corinth, Asia, Gaul, Carthage, Alexandria, and Antioch communicated about doctrine, leadership, disputes, and material affairs through their own network. What is surprisingly missing is any report to Jerusalem's Jewish leadership, request for its authorization, or acknowledgement that these Gentile churches remained under its administration. Rome eventually patched the missing connection with a succession claim. It lists 32 bishops from Linus to Sylvester I and places Peter's name at the beginning. But it cannot produce an epistle in which Peter granted Rome autonomy from Jerusalem or established an independent line of Gentile rulers. A Roman bishop replacing another Roman bishop proves only internal Roman continuity. Jesus gave binding authority only to the Jewish representatives he personally appointed, and no others. Gentile leaders shared that authority only while remaining grafted into the body those representatives administered. Once they chose successors and governed independently, their authority became self-generated. Paul warned that the departure would arise from within his Gentile congregations. Ignatius later manifested it through a bishop-centered system and named it Catholic. Paul prophesied the departure. Ignatius fulfilled it. Rome concealed it behind a succession claim.